Welcome to today's deep dive. We're going on a bit of a bacterial adventure.
Oh, I love a good adventure.
We too, especially when it involves some fascinating bacteria. And to guide us on our journey, we have none other than Bergey's Manual of Systematic Bacteriology.
The holy grail of bacterial taxonomy.
Exactly. And we'll be focusing specifically on Volume 5, second edition, just like the ultimate guide to bacterial classification. And since you're tuning in as a medical microbiologist,
Which I assume most of our listeners are.
yeah, we're going to zero in on what's most relevant for your work.
That's right, cutting to the chase, so to speak.
Exactly. So imagine this. You're faced with a newly classified bacterial class, and you need a rapid but thorough understanding. That's exactly what we're aiming for today.
A crash course in cutting-edge bacterial classification. I'm all for it.
Great. So let's dive right in. The class we're exploring today is Nitriliruptoria, a relatively new addition to the bacterial world, and it belongs to a phylum you're probably quite familiar with, Actinobacteria.
Ugh. Actinobacteria. A phylum near and dear to the hearts of all medical microbiologists.
Absolutely. I mean, this is the phylum that's given us some of the most notorious pathogens out there, right? Think Mycobacterium, the culprit behind tuberculosis and streptomyces, responsible for a whole range of infections.
Not to mention all the incredible antibiotics we've derived from streptomyces species.
Exactly. So we're talking about a phylum with major implications for human health. But what makes Nitriliruptoria so intriguing is that it was actually bumped up from a subclass, Nitriliruptoridae.
It's true. Quite a taxonomic shakeup, wouldn't you say?
A major promotion in the bacterial world. What led to this reclassification? From subclass to a full-fledged class.
Well, as with so much in modern microbiology, it all comes down to genetics, specifically 16S rRNA gene sequencing.
Ah, the power of genetic analysis.
Indeed. This technique allows us to trace evolutionary relationships between bacteria with remarkable precision.
It's like a family tree for bacteria.
Exactly. And in the case of Nitriliruptoria, 16S rRNA analysis revealed a unique lineage, distinct enough to warrant its own class within Actinobacteria.
Wow, so we're talking about a bacterial class with its own special story to tell.
A story that, believe me, has the potential to reveal surprising insights into the evolution and diversity of pathogenic mechanisms.
Okay, I'm hooked. Let's unpack this Nitriliruptoria class. Where do we even begin?
Well, under this class, we have the order Nitriliruptorales. And within that, we have the family Nitriliruptoraceae.
So we're going from class to order to family classic taxonomy.
It's all about organizing the microbial world one step at a time.
I like it. So let's imagine a typical member of this Nitriliruptoraceae family. What are we looking at?
Picture this. Rod-shaped, gram-positive bacteria thriving in the presence of oxygen. They're what we call aerobic heterotrophs, meaning they need oxygen and organic matter for energy.
Okay, so far so good. But something tells me there's more to these bacteria than meets the eye.
Oh, you're absolutely right. Their name, Nitriliruptor, is a big clue. It literally means nitrile breaker.
Nitrile breaker. That sounds pretty badass. What exactly does that mean?
Well, these tiny powerhouses can break down nitrile's organic compounds with a specific chemical structure as well as organic acids and sugars.
Nitrile breaking bacteria. That sounds pretty specialized. Where do they even hang out?
They're a bit extreme, you could say. They prefer alkaline and moderately salty environments.
Alkaline and salty. So they're like the ultimate extremophiles.
You could say that. They've adapted to thrive in conditions that would be hostile to most other life forms, and that's part of what makes them so fascinating to study.
It's amazing to think about the resilience of life, even in the face of such challenging conditions.
It really speaks to the power of adaptation in evolution.
Absolutely. Speaking of extremes, let's zoom in on the genus that gives the whole class its name. Nitriliruptor.
Ah, yes, the namesake of the class.
What's their story? How were they discovered?
Their discovery story is actually quite fascinating. They were first isolated from a soda lake.
Soda Lake. That sounds pretty unique.
It is. Imagine a highly alkaline lake with high salt concentrations. That's their natural habitat.
So Nitriliruptor bacteria are like the ultimate extremophiles. It makes you wonder, could their adaptations to these extreme environments offer any clues about how bacteria might survive in challenging conditions within the human body?
That's a brilliant question, and it's one that medical microbiologists are starting to explore.
Because even though our bodies aren't soda lakes, There are definitely some microenvironments that could be considered extreme.
Exactly. Think about the acidity of the stomach, for example, or areas with high salt
It's
concentrations.
like a whole different world within our own bodies.
It is. And understanding how extremophiles like Nitriliruptor thrive in such conditions could provide insights into bacterial survival mechanisms, even in the context of human health and disease.
I'm already starting to see the connections to medical microbiology. Now, from one extreme environment to another, let's move on to a different order within Nitriliruptoria, Euzebyales. And the name itself is intriguing.
It is, isn't it? This order is named after the renowned microbiologist Jean-Paul Marie Euzeby, a fitting tribute to his contributions to the field.
I love how taxonomic naming conventions often honor these scientific pioneers.
It's a way of recognizing their legacy and the impact they've had on our understanding of the microbial world.
Absolutely. So within Euzebyales, we have a single family, Euzebiaceae,
That's right, one family within this particular order.
and the star of this family, the genus Euzebia, also has a name that pays homage to a microbiological giant.
It does. And this genus is full of surprises, like Nitriliruptor, Euzebia bacteria are also gram-positive rods and need oxygen to survive, but they have a unique quirk. They absolutely require salt for growth.
So they're what we call halophilic salt-loving.
Exactly. They're also known for their very specific menaquinone profile.
Menaquinones. Remind me what those are again.
These are molecules involved in their electron transport chain, a crucial part of their metabolism, essentially how they generate energy.
Ah, right, the electron transport chain, a fundamental process in cellular respiration.
Precisely. And the specific types of menaquinones present in Euzebia help distinguish them from other bacteria.
Okay, so we've got salt-loving bacteria with a distinctive metabolic signature. What else makes Euzebia stand out?
One of their most striking features is their incredibly slow growth rate. We're talking about taking up to 5 weeks to form visible colonies in a lab setting.
5 weeks. That's an eternity in the lab.
It is. It's quite a contrast to the faster-growing bacteria we often encounter. But when these colonies finally do appear, they're quite distinctive. Tangerine-colored, pulvinate, cushion-shaped, and quite hard in texture.
Tangerine-colored. That's a fun detail. It's like they're adding a splash of color to the microbial world.
They certainly are, but their slow growth rate can also be a challenge, especially in a clinical setting.
Oh, I can imagine. You're trying to identify a bacterium from a patient sample, and it takes 5 weeks to grow.
It could easily be overlooked or misidentified, leading to an incomplete picture of the microbial landscape.
That's a crucial point. It highlights the need for awareness and perhaps even adjusted lab protocols to ensure we're not missing these slow-growing but potentially important microbes.
Absolutely, and it makes you appreciate the diversity of bacterial life and the challenges we face in accurately identifying and understanding these organisms.
Speaking of challenges, I think it's time for a little knowledge check. Get ready for a pop quiz. Don't worry, these questions aren't meant to intimidate. They're designed to help you solidify your understanding of this intriguing bacterial class. Let's see how much you've absorbed from our deep dive so far.
All right, medical microbiology enthusiasts, fire away.
Okay, here comes question number 1. What sets Nitriliruptoria apart within the phylum Actinobacteria?
Think back to our discussion about their evolutionary journey. Remember, the class Nitriliruptoria was elevated from a subclass based on distinctive 16S rRNA gene analysis. This indicates a unique lineage within Actinobacteria, setting them apart from their relatives.
Question number 2. Why is the genus Nitriliruptor given such a distinctive name?
This one should be a slam dunk. The name speaks for itself. Nitriliruptor literally means nitrile breaker, highlighting their remarkable ability to degrade nitriles. It's a key part of their unique metabolic capabilities.
On to question number 3. What are the defining characteristics of the family Nitriliruptoraceae?
Let's recap. They're rod-shaped, gram-positive bacteria that rely on oxygen, making them aerobic. They're also heterotrophs, meaning they need organic matter for energy. And as we've discussed, they're impressive degraders of not just organic nitriles, but also organic acids and sugars. And let's not forget their preference for alkaline and moderately salty environments, those extremophile tendencies.
Here's question number 4, and it really gets to the heart of why we're exploring these bacteria. What potential medical implications could arise from studying extremophilic bacteria like those in the order Nitriliruptorales?
This is where we move from the specific to the bigger picture. Think about the challenges bacteria face within the human body: acidity, varying salt concentrations, and other harsh conditions. Could these extremophiles hold clues about bacterial survival strategies in these environments? It's a fascinating question that could have implications for understanding bacterial pathogenesis and resilience.
And last but not least, question number 5. Why might the slow growth rate of Euzebia be significant in a clinical setting?
Imagine you're a medical microbiologist analyzing patient samples. You're looking for bacterial culprits, but you're relying on standard culture methods that favor fast-growing organisms. What happens if a slow-growing bacterium like Euzebia is present? It could easily be overlooked or misidentified, leading to an incomplete picture of the microbial landscape. This could have implications for diagnosis and treatment strategies.
That's a crucial point. It highlights the need for awareness and perhaps even adjusted lab protocols to ensure we're not missing these slow-growing but potentially important microbes.
It really does, just highlight how complex the microbial world really is. I mean, we're always learning new things about these organisms.
Right, and it just shows how much we still don't know.
Yeah.
And to think, all this amazing information, it's all right there in Volume 5 of Bergey's Manual of Systematic Bacteriology.
Oh, Bergey it's an incredible resource, truly is, for anyone working in this field.
Absolutely, it really is. And it's not just about, dry classifications either.
Oh, no, definitely not.
I mean, remember that whole thing about Euzebia being found on a sea cucumber? I mean, who would have thought to look there?
Well, it just goes to show you, right? I mean, we often think of these bacteria in very specific environments like, a soda lake or whatever.
Right, like isolated little world.
Yeah, but the reality is that these ecosystems are interconnected in ways we're only beginning to understand.
So that begs the question, what other unusual niches might harbor members of this bacterial class, right? I mean, we found them in soda lakes, we found them on sea cucumbers. What else is out there?
Oh, that's what's so exciting about this field, right? I mean, the possibilities are pretty much endless, really. Think about deep sea vents, contaminated soils, even right here.
Yeah, in our own bodies.
Exactly. The human microbiome is a perfect example. I mean, we're only just scratching the surface of understanding the microbial diversity that exists within us.
Like a whole universe of bacteria living inside of us.
It's true, and some of them, perhaps even members of Nitriliruptoria, could play crucial roles in our health and disease.
It's incredible when you think about it. We started with a broad look at a bacterial class, and we've ended up talking about the human microbiome and its impact on human health.
That's what I love about microbiology. It's all connected. We start with these tiny organisms and end up exploring these vast interconnected systems.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into Nitriliruptoria, what are some key takeaways you'd like our listeners to remember?
I'd say first and foremost, never underestimate the power of the microbial world. These tiny organisms can have a profound impact on our understanding of life, evolution, and even human health.
It's a reminder to stay curious, keep exploring, and never stop learning.
Exactly. And while our exploration of this bacterial class comes to a close, the journey of discovery in microbiology never really ends.
That's so true. There's always something new to uncover, some new mystery to solve.
So to our fellow medical microbiologists out there, keep those microscopes focused, keep asking questions, and who knows what amazing discoveries lie ahead.
Beautifully said. Thanks for joining us on this adventure to the world of extremophiles, slow growers, and nitrile breakers.
It's been my pleasure. Always a thrill to dive into the fascinating world of bacteria.
Until next time, keep those curious minds engaged and never underestimate the power of a good deep dive.
It's really inspiring, right? I mean, just thinking about how much we can learn from these tiny organisms.
Yeah, it really puts things in perspective, doesn't it? Totally. Like we're so focused on the big picture sometimes. But it's these little guys, these bacteria, that really hold so many secrets about life itself.
And they can teach us so much about evolution, adaptation, even about our own health.
Absolutely. I'm feeling like I need to catch up on the latest research.
Oh, yeah, me too. There's always something new coming out in this field.
It's true. But for now, I think we've given our listeners a pretty good introduction to the wonderful world of Nitriliruptoria.
I'd say so. From extremophiles to slow growers to nitrile breakers.
We've covered a lot of ground. So to all our fellow medical microbiologists out there, keep exploring, keep asking questions, and most importantly, keep those curious minds engaged. And until next time, thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the fascinating world of bacteria.
It's been a pleasure.